Kinemaster.
Hey there and welcome back to Mastering Kinemaster Tutorials narrated in English. So today I'm going to go over exporting with you, what all the settings and the way to do it are. You've got your video done, you're ready to send it out. How do I set those settings? For instance, it's awesome that Kinemaster can work with 4K content like this drone video I shot behind me, but my export right here, you're not seeing it in 4K. I'm going to explain why. There's so many settings in the back of Kinemaster and it isn't exactly clear which is the best for the platforms that you want to use for social media or whatever you're doing. So if you're interested, first of all, if you like my content, remember, like and subscribe, and to find out everything about what the correct settings are to use for your export, follow me on the other side of the screencast. See you there. Okay, so here's a project that I have finished and we're ready to export. And if you're familiar with Kinemaster, you're probably going to hit your export button from here, which in the new versions of Kinemaster, it's up top there. On the other versions, on the side. I'm going to show you that there's a different way that I do this. So this is the export screen, but I'm not going to use it right now. I hit the back button and I'm going to go and tell you why I do what I do. So we've been editing this, and when we press play, we can only see the video in this smaller version, and it's not taking up the whole screen of my phone. I want to, before I export it, I'm spending all the time editing this video. I want to see what it looks like in full screen on my phone. There's only one way that I know of to do that in Kinemaster, so I have to go out to the exterior menu, and I'm going to show you this. It's a little cumbersome, but I hit the back button, gets me to this top menu with all of my content. I go ahead and I click the video that I want to look at, and then there's a play button here. This play button launches full screen. I can watch all of my content the way I really get the best picture of it. It's really worth it given what the work that you've put on in your video. Hey, I like what I see now. I press the back button to get back to this screen. And on this screen, there's also a share button right in the middle here. And that brings me to that same export screen that we were looking at before. And now we're going to get ready and we're going to go through the export process. Here we are on the export screen. I'm going to tell you at the beginning, there's no way to explain this in detail without it getting long. So if you don't want to listen to the long explanation, take my word for it that the setting here is the best setting that you can have. All right. Bigger is not always better or even close for your social media platforms. For the most reliable delivery and good looking video across the board, set your resolution to FHD 1080p, set your frame rate to 30, and this one's really important because it looks on this like low. Setting it to 8 looks so far towards the low side, but setting it to high will cause you weird results at different times that I will explain if you want to stay and listen in detail. And by the way, setting it close to 8 but below is what's important. So if you're at like 7.9, it's perfectly fine and you will be absolutely fine, but don't go over 8 unless you understand, and I'm going to explain that, but it'll take a few more minutes. So if you just want to walk away right now and say what was the best setting, and you can trust me, just keep it slightly below 8, FHD, and 30. And that's all you need for now. Remember, like and subscribe. If you're still interested in finding more, then you can continue watching with me. All right, if you're here for the more details on the settings, let me do the easiest one first. Frame rate. 30 is typical because that's what most videos are done in. It means 30 frames per second. 24 for cinema is something if you want to give more of a film-like texture. It'll be a little bit softer, a little bit grainier, and if you want something to look more like a film, you can test that one out and see how it looks and if you like it. One that people think about at times is 60. There's really no reason to use this setting unless you recorded it first at 60 frames per second. The only reason to do that is if you're going to slow something down and it makes it look better in slow motion. But if you didn't record it off of your camera at 60 frames per second, then it doesn't matter. So this would only be if you're re-exporting to slow it down half. I don't really see that being useful. So for me, it's always 30, or for a softer look, more like a film, I would use 24. But in videos like this, 30 is the most sharp and the most commonly used. All right, let's go to the next one. That's the next easiest to explain is resolution. We've all heard 4K. So 4K, if you look down here, 4K quadruples the size of the output file from FHD, full HD. All right, from 20 megs to 83 megs. Now, 4K is only good when people have a 4K screen. So if someone's watching it on their home TV, or if you're going to show it on a 4K laptop and you bring it to them, then that's great. But otherwise, you're just using extra bandwidth, extra storage for yourself, extra upload time, extra download time. And this is a tiny video that's 10 seconds long. Once you get into a minute of this, you're talking about gigs of space, gigs of upload, and on the receiving end, gigs of download that the person may not even be able to do. To me, unless you know someone's receiving it in 4K, there's no reason to use 4K settings. Now, just to state that when I make my drone videos, if I'm going to play them at home for friends, then I do save them in 4K. So that would be a reason to do that. But understand, storage space, bandwidth time, not worth it, because people who are watching on YouTube or watching on their phones aren't going to see a difference. The final one, bitrate, I'm going to tell you why I set mine to 8, but I want to show you first that this, just like when you load up to 4K, increases. We've got it all the way up to 78 megs if we use what their high setting is, which I would never do. Just so you know, the situation with 8, that Facebook says that they will not start to downsample things unless the file size is larger than a gig. What downsampling is when Facebook decides to recompress your content on the fly. What that means is they put an algorithm that changes the look and feel of your content, and they use their system, which is not optimized to make your stuff look good. I found this out early on in Kinemaster when I was outputting stuff in the middle here at around 16, or I was thinking just put it in the middle, and I would watch it on Facebook where I put a lot of my stuff, and I would say, why does this look so garbagey? If you set it to below 8, they will never resample your content. You will always see it the way you want to see it, or the way you see it on your phone, and your visitor or watcher will always see it that way too. What I found myself is that if I export this and take a look, and you can test this yourself, but to me, visually, there's almost no difference visible between when I set this at 8 or below and set this all the way up to 16 or something like that. It looks great to me. Coming out of Kinemaster, they have their own codec that does this. When I post it on YouTube, I think that it looks equally as good. If you were using only YouTube and you really thought that setting it in the middle looked better, then maybe you might want to do that, but I would say that you're also talking about your visitors' download speeds, whether they're on a great internet connection or not, and you're doubling the amount of file size that they're going to download. And so if it looks good to you, I'm telling you, first of all, is if you use Facebook, do not set this above 8, because you'll have stuff that shows up for some people that may not look how you intended it to. If you set it below 8, it'll always look the way that you want it to. And for me, that's enough to do it, because Kinemaster does a great job when this is set below 8. And so that's the end of my story. You can try what you want, but I believe that this is really the best way to do it if you're doing delivery platforms online. Again, if you're playing it at your house, if you want to show it to friends actually on a computer, or bring it to them on media, or have them downloaded to watch on their TVs, go for it. 4K, higher quality, all of it. But for our typical streaming platforms, keep this below 8. Keep this at FHD, and keep this one at either 30 or 24, because 24 sometimes gives it a cool look for the frame rate. And I hope that all makes sense. Okay, I hope I helped explain everything for you so you're better prepared to have the best quality content for the platform that you're delivering to. Remember, if you like my content, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, or any ideas for a future video, things that you're not sure how it would work, just add them in the content. I have done features that are related specifically to subscriber requests, and I look forward to hearing from you and seeing more. Look for me the next time around and make some awesome content with the best mobile video editing platform out there, Kinemaster. See you next time.
Kinemaster.